Final hour for the week. Overdrive continues. Brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Sure, there were a lot of people on FanDuel thinking Atlanta Braves could win a World Series, the LA Dodgers could win a World Series, maybe the Baltimore Orioles could win a World Series. You'd be wrong on all fronts because they're all out.
Wide open the now. Playoffs aren't fair for top seeds.
Yeah, that's what everyone's complaining about now because
they had to sit and wait, and then they played a game and a day off. It's like, come on,
it's
man.
Bogus, man. Like, because there have been top seeds that have won. Obviously, when Houston was winning their World Series, when the Dodgers won their World Series, right? It's not perfect. I'd be cool if they adjusted certain things, like maybe make it a best of 7. You know, it opens the door to a comeback if you have more depth. But the fact is, like, the Phillies are doing what they did last year. Get in, wild card, all good, and just get hot and dummy teams. And, like, Nick Castellanos, first guy, I believe, in MLB playoff history with back-to-back multi-home run games in the playoffs, which is wild.
Man.
And he was, like, kind of almost, like, not angry about it. Do you see the post-game last night with Fox, I think it was? Let's play it. All right, Castellanos is sitting there. They're all getting ready to pop champagne. And there's a reporter who is just kind of enlightening him to that record that he set. And he wanted nothing to do with it. This is Nick Castellanos on the field after the Phillies knocked out the Braves last night.
Nick, nobody in Major League history has hit 2 home runs on back-to-back postseason games, but you just did, and you guys are headed to the NLCS.
Where's the question in that?
There's no question.
Well, thank you for telling me.
I thought you'd be happy with that.
I am, man, but we got 8 more wins.
Okay. Sorry. That was TBS.
That's a D-bag move. I'm sorry.
It's totally unnecessary.
Yeah, even if you could have said, you know what, it's about the team. It's all about the team. Those were individual things, and I don't even care about that. We're just happy to win. To just look at the guy and say, what's the question? I'm sorry. Like, I used to have an attitude problem when I was younger. I don't think I would have said that.
Well, it's one thing if you're being defensive, right? If there's a statement being made. Like, there was a back and forth with Shapiro and Steve Simmons the other day. Steve has had a couple of back and forths the last 48 hours.
Yeah.
He had one with Austin Matthews a couple of nights ago that I thought was hilarious. And Steve was talking about, he made a statement that, in his time covering this team, and he's covered them for over 30 years, he indicated that his impression was the fans were more angry than they ever have been. And Shapiro gave is there a question in that? Oh, it was just a state, and that's kind of where I understand why Shapiro would go back, because it was negative, right? It wasn't wrong. I think Steve is accurate in his assessment. But this is a completely gratuitous tire pumping, Jack's Tires Campbell's, of just saying, listen, man, you just set a record and you're going to the championship series. And
the only thing the dude from TBS could have done differently is said, how's it feel?
Right. How's it feel?
As opposed to just going blank, because then he was just like, what's the question?
What's the question? I don't know, man. Unbelievable statistic that you
It was
just
a greasy thing to do, man. It was a greasy thing to do. And it kind of just spoiled the moment where it was like it could have been just a legendary type interview. Like, Bryce Harper is going legend right now, saying, I love Philly. Everyone in that clubhouse loves being a Philly. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, we're all just made to be in. Like, he's just pumping the tires of Philadelphia, and people are loving it. Loving it.
Yeah. He's a rock star, but he shows up. And I didn't like that interaction either. Like, why do you have to be like, where's the question? You just won. Like,
exactly.
I can understand if you lost and you're like pouting and be like, hey, I just want to get this interview over with. Like, it was such a weird, like, it caught everybody off guard. Like, I didn't see that interview until just now. I hated that.
Yeah,
thing.
Castellanos,
that's ridiculous.
it's a cool story. And yes, you have 8 more wins before you reach the promised land. We get it. No one's suggesting you won the World Series last night. But it was pretty cool. Seems like a cool statistic. And you just knocked out the Braves. Pretty cool. So now you got Phillies Diamondbacks, which is not
I think Phillies are going to club them. Sorry.
I don't know, man.
You think so?
I don't know. The way Arizona's playing, like the way they looked, It feels like that D-backs team in 01, man. Remember when they were playing the Yankees?
Dude, I get it. The D-backs, they just beat the Brewers. They just beat the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. But you know the Cinderella story. They get clubbed at one point in time. And I think their time is up. I would love to know the odds, and I would love a handshake with you on that series.
Well, I'm kind of with you. We'll look that up on FanDuel, what they're saying.
I love the way you question my comment, and then you're like, by the way, I'm with you.
No, I'm saying you said they'd get clubbed. I didn't say they would win. I'm not suggesting
I say the Phillies are going to club the D-backs.
Okay, that I'll take your money for. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. You want to tag that onto a Team Owen Wilson versus Hayes and Company, or is this just Jeff O'Neill and Bryan Hayes? How do you want to – because what are you saying? You got Phillies
I would never involve
less?
my partsy in a baseball. We are a football dynasty, and that's all we deal with.
Okay. So do you want Phillies in 5 or less, or do you really have Stones and Phillies in a sweep? Which one do you have?
I'll do Phillies 5 or less.
Okay, you take Phillies 5 or less, and I'll take basically the field. That means if the Phillies win in 6, 7, or the Diamondbacks win – I guess I should give you some odds on that, but we'll
give
figure
a little
that
bit
out.
of odds.
Give me 3 to 1 on 1,000.
No, I'll give you 2 to 1. I'll give you 2 to 1. There you go. Shake on it.
Yeah.
What a game last night. What a pick last night. Harrison Butker. He knew what he had in store. He knew he had to hit that fidge to push the line to 11, and that's exactly what he did. I thought Al Michaels had a great call because it's not even the elephant in the room anymore because
he loves gambling.
Yeah, and everyone knows it. Gambling is just synonymous with the NFL, and that field goal made it an 11-point game. The spread was Kansas City laying 10.5, and Hayes and Company, a.k.a. Michael Myers, was on that last night. Here's our buddy Luke Willson. What a pick last night. What a pick.
First and foremost, the fact that you're trying to squeeze your way back into this thing by putting baseball bets out there is ridiculous. Of course, Partsy's not going to go for that nonsense.
That's right. That's a sign of weakness, Partsy. That's a sign of weakness.
Exactly. You know he's scared. He's scared. That's the only logical explanation to that whole rant you just went on. And then the idea that you think you had a good pick last night, talk about a trash cover, the greasiest thing of all time. I can't even fathom that happened, okay? It's ridiculous, but it's all good. We'll go 3-0 this weekend.
Luke, would you not agree? I told this guy, this pathetic loser, earlier in the show. Because all he does is continue. It's almost like he's trying to talk himself into actually competing with us. But I did give him this little nugget, and you can agree or disagree. If he has a monster weekend, like we did in week 1, he could get our attention. Are you willing to give him that?
Yes, if he has a monster weekend. But that's a big if.
Well,
because he's a loser.
You can say that all you want. I'm 9-5-1, and I haven't even woken up yet. I'm still sleepwalking through. This is my preseason. I come alive down the stretch.
I mean, you're hanging on by a thread. Last night almost buried you.
Listen, I'll be honest. When he got sacked, 2 things ran through my mind. Mahomes. One, did he just take himself out of field goal range? Once I realized he did know, I was ecstatic because he wasn't going to jam me again like he did 2 weeks ago. Because if they picked up a first down and they wasted all the timeouts for Denver, you know what was coming. They were going to take a knee and kill the clock. And so it was the greatest sack I've ever seen. The greatest sack these guys have ever seen. Because then Butker came in, made it an 11-point game, and the rest was history. Because Russell Wilson had no chance at a 2-minute drill against that team. Against any team. You can give them 15 minutes. It doesn't matter. Like Russ and that Denver team, they are an absolute disaster.
Dumpster fire.
It's strange for me to watch because, I obviously have a relationship with Russ. I played with the guy for 7 years. And for him to be running an offense that is this bad, it's hard for me to even wrap my head around. I mean, they look terrible in every aspect. The only thing that they did somewhat well yesterday was run the ball out of 2 tight end sets with a fullback, which is going back to like 1992 style football. And it's just littered all over Sean Payton where he has no faith in Russ. And it's to the point yesterday where in my head, I was like, is this a conspiracy? Like, is he purposely sewering Russ now? I mean, they're running fullback dives yesterday. Twice. One of them actually worked, which was kind of fun for me to watch, but I can't even fathom that Russ, like at one point this guy was, I mean, this might be an aggressive thing to say, but you would have thought 7-8 years ago he was going to be the face of the NFL.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
that is true.
How does it happen that you're throwing for 94 or 37 yards in the first half yesterday? And you got Judy, you got Sutton, and you had a run game. It's hard with a pick, that is. It doesn't get worse than what they're putting out there.
No, and it feels like Peyton almost now probably wants it to continue so he can just blame Russ, right? And that's what will happen is he wants Russ probably to fail, lose a million games, pick a quarterback, and then move on and say it wasn't my fault. It was Russell Wilson. And I think that's unfair because I don't think Sean Payton's done anything. We joked about it yesterday, the unintentional tank. They're 1-5, and they're a joke. They're maybe the biggest joke in the NFL. And Sean Payton was talking about them being a playoff team like 7 weeks ago.
You nailed it, Hayes. I mean, it's scary for a team that has, supposed players, let's say, on the squad, even on defense. Like you look at Surtain, I mean, the Javonte Williams running back is supposed to be a really good player in this league. Judy, like I said, I keep bringing up Sutton. They've got a cast of tight ends over there. That's why, to me, I point the finger more so at Sean Payton. But it does look like Sean Payton is going to have his way because yesterday's offense was something I couldn't even fathom. Again, the reason Russ wanted out of Seattle was so that he could, quote-unquote, cook, sling the ball around. And, I mean, they're down 16-0 at one point midway through the third quarter, and they're coming out in I formation, just running normal run plays. It's just strange for me to even see that. I'm at a loss for words.
So is Billy Belichick, Lukey.
Yeah.
What do you think is going through that cat's mind? We had the discussion the other day, or I had brought up just a ridiculous proposal. Like, if you had to pick, Luke, to play with one quarterback in a must-win game tomorrow, who would it be? Mac Jones or Zach Wilson? Who would you pick as your quarterback?
At this very moment?
Yes.
Zach Wilson.
What a statement. What an indictment on Mac Jones.
That is scary ass stuff.
It is scary. But it's not. This is what's even scarier, O-Dog, is that, again, we're talking this exact moment. I'm not talking about a couple years ago. In this exact moment right now, I don't even think it's a tough decision. That's what's even scarier about it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, and I'm not being rude here when I say Mac Jones has been – Mac Jones has been terrible, but so has Zach Wilson. But Mac Jones looks like he's forgotten how to play football. It's again, and he just looks uncomfortable. I mean, they struggled last week. One of their turnovers was a simple pitch to the running back where he flung it a heater about 2 feet behind the running back's head. And I'm like, that's how you know. I think in baseball they call it the yips. We don't really have a term for it in football, but you can just see the guy is wildly uncomfortable and aggressively pressing. And that's why right now I'm definitely going with Zach Wilson.
All right, we got Luke Willson here, one half of Team Owen Wilson. Obviously, his partner is here as well. And Hayes and Company's feeling very good after a big win last night, a great call. We got a number of games to get to here because we have another London game. So we got a 4-pack on Sunday, which is awesome. You guys are on the clock to start this party off. 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time kickoff in London. Ravens, -4 against the Titans. Baltimore laying 4 against Tennessee. Who are you taking and why?
Pardsy, we discussed this morning. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, Pardsy. And we discussed, this is a gross one, but we're going to go with the Ravens. We're taking the 4 points. But we really need a good first half from Baltimore because Tennessee's going to try and muck this game up. And that's how this thing will. The only way it stays close is if Baltimore lays an egg in the first half. If Lamar and company can finally figure it out, if they can finally figure out and even get up 7 at the half, this thing will be a complete blowout. So we're taking the Ravens because we think they're going to have a bounce-back week. They played the Steelers last week, who seemingly have their number. I'm going Ravens all the way.
Okay, you're on the Ravens. I think that's a sound pick. I will say I worry about that turf. I worry about the field that they're playing on with Lamar and company. The Ravens have found ways to lose, man, like the weapons. We talked about it yesterday. I think Lamar's playing pretty well. It's that he doesn't have many guys to throw to, a lot of bad drops. Feels like Mike Vrabel in kind of uncertain territory. He'll have this place fired up. I think the Titans will play nasty on Sunday. Okay, I'm okay with being on the Titans +4. I could see that being a field goal game. All right, I'm on the Seahawks at the Bengals. Bengals laying 2.5. And this is a bit of a confusing line because Vegas, the fact that it's so low would suggest to me that Vegas thinks Seattle's going to find a way to win this game. Because even though the Bengals have not played well, they're still the Bengals. Publicly, I think people still look at Burrow at home and think, okay, clearly Cincinnati's the play.
He did put up 34 last week.
And he put up a massive amount of points last week. I think Seattle's a good team. I'm confused by the line, but I'm not going to fall into the trap. I'll take Cincinnati. I'm on the Bengals.
Boom! There's a dub for us.
Absolutely.
This guy's a dummy. Hook, line, and sinker. He's like a largemouth bass right now.
It's the Bengals all day. It's the Bengals all day. They're getting healthy. Joe Cool's getting healthy. You think he's going to continue to lose ball games at home? No chance. Bengals by a touchdown on Sunday.
That's laughable. That is laughable.
You know the largemouth bass that's on your wall that wiggles around? That's Hayes right now.
No question. Hey, since the dawn of time, the Seahawks have struggled with the Rams. We open up week 1, we struggle with the Rams. Since then, we've been great. Also, Jamal Adams cleared concussion protocol. Also, the Cincinnati Bengals can't protect to save their lives. They're terrible at that. You're telling me right now that you think Seattle's not going to win this game?
That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. I think everything you just said is accurate in terms of Seattle playing recently, but I think there was a statement made by the Bengals last week. I still think they're the best team in the AFC North. I still think they win that division, and I think this is the last time you're going to get them at a number that low. Just like what we saw with the Niners only laying 3.5 against Dallas last week. You're not going to see that again all year unless they're at Arrowhead or at maybe in Buffalo. You're just not going to see a line like that, and I think the same thing applies here. I think Vegas is handing out one more cookie, basically, because the Bengals have been sewering people through 5 weeks, and they're saying, take it. It's a low number. I'll bet you by kickoff this is 3.5. Money's coming in on Cincinnati, especially after Hayes and company makes it a sharp play. Sharp play.
I love it.
Take the P away and put a T there.
Sharp play. Okay. Moving on here. You guys in the 4 o'clock window. I love this game. I love that you guys are on this game. Lions at Bucks. Detroit 3-point favorite on the road against your boy Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Great sports town down in Tampa. Lions or Bucks? Who and why?
This is a slam dunk for me, but I will let Partsy announce it.
Yeah, I mean, I got a feeling, like we spoke about earlier, we're on the same page here. We're going with the Detroit Lions.
Yes, we are. True kneecaps. True kneecaps.
Laying points on the road in South Florida? No chance. No chance.
I mean, this is the only saving grace you might have here, Hayes, is that Dave Canales, the OC for the Bucks, has been in Seattle and really been like a pretty big part of Seattle's offense, I'm going to say, for the last decade. So he's going to see Seattle's film against them and try and mimic a lot of that. But that being said, these two rosters could not be in polar opposite situations. And the next thing is the Bucks just simply aren't that good. This is a complete fluke, what we're seeing here. The Lions are going to go in here, and if they are the new-look Lions, which they've shown to be, they're going to roll this team by about 14, maybe more. So this line is, I mean, you're going to be texting the group after this saying, what a layup, and blaming the grappler. Okay, that's all I've got to say about that.
Yeah, I probably will, when in doubt. But listen, Detroit's been impressive. They've been impressive. They've been good. But Tampa's been very surprising this year, very surprising. And I'm not sure I'm willing to lay points with Detroit on the road. But, all right, pick is in. Go ahead. Your Lions. You take your Lions. You got your Seattle Seahawks. Everything's coming up for Timo and Wilson. All right, the Sunday Nighter, I just despise this game. I always get stuck with these monster spreads with two teams that are complete opposites of each other. Giants at Bills. The Bills are a 15.5-point favorite. 15.5-point favorite. And if you are thinking, like I am, that this Giants team has been getting blown out and has been playing a lot of primetime games lately, you would be accurate in that assessment. They got blown out by the Cowboys. They got blown out in San Francisco. They lost big against Seattle. They lost big last week at the Dolphins. Yet I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take the Giants here. I'm going to take the points.
Oh, my God,
yes, I am.
dude. I'm going to give you a chance. Take it back.
No, I'm going to take the points.
The Bills are going to beat them by 35.
Here's why I'm going to take the
in
points.
In the first half.
The Bills, they're coming back from London, right? They're all out of – the mojo is off. They're going against time here, right? We're talking body clock issues. Also, the Giants are not going to win this game. But they're not going to get blown out by 20 every single game this year.
Have you ever seen Danny Dimes when his eyes go crossed in the huddle and he doesn't know
That's
what's
generally
going
the
on?
sun. That's the sun. Danny Dimes, week one notwithstanding against the Cowboys, Danny Dimes, he's got the appropriate context for under the lights on a Sunday night. And again, the Bills are going to win this game. But I just don't think – they lost by 15 last week. They lost by, I think, 19 the week before, 18 the week before. That's why the line is so high, because you're looking at the last few weeks that the Giants, they can't keep it within 2 touchdowns. I don't think that just happens every single week. At some point, Dable will snap out of it. Danny Dimes will snap out of it. The Giants will show some pride. They'll actually get a lead early. They'll blow it, but they'll lose by 10. I'll take the Giants, laying the points, or taking the points.
I mean, this is the height of insanity. It's the height of insanity. I can't even fathom. Hey, is this some sort of conspiracy that you're trying to lose?
No.
Like, are you kidding me right now?
No.
The Bengals and the Giants? That's who you're on?
That's right. That's exactly who I'm on. And I love those picks. Bengals roll by a touchdown.
You know what?
The board well noodles.
If we wake up on Monday night, so on Tuesday, if you've had a weekend, like you're right back, you might have to start sending out the Beansy tweet if you're right back in it.
Oh, it'll be The Undertaker with Beansy's face on it, and there'll be Michael Myers music in the background. It's all coming together.
This is like a broken record now. Last week, I came on here on Friday, and you said my picks were terrible, and you're going to be all tied up. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, we're doing it again. Your picks are terrible. We're sending out Undertaker. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
It's not happening. The movie's almost broke. It should have broke last night. It's breaking this weekend.
Listen, you guys are uber confident. I understand why, yet you're barely in the lead. I told you. It's like you guys have had a career start, and you look back and you realize there's a giant behind you, and he's just starting to wake up. Just starting to see. I'm peering at the board. I'm not looking at I'm peering. I'm just checking it out. I'm not even fully enlightened yet. I'm not totally awake yet. This board, there's a lot of action still to come. And Hayes and Company's feeling it.
I love it.
Take it to the bank, man. Take it to the bank. All right, Luke. Have a great weekend, buddy.
See you guys.
There's Luke Willson. And
dude, that's the craziest one I've ever seen, man. That Giants team is so bad. Buffalo is going to kick their ass.
15.5 points is a massive spread, dude. It's a massive spread.
Yeah, but it could be 30-0 at the half.
It could be. It could be, but the Bills, they have a lot of self-inflicted wounds. They're coming back from London, a game they lost, albeit, and they won't be happy about that. Sunday night, that place will be going nuts. Crazy. You give Bills Mafia like an extra 7 hours to tailgate, it will be bedlam in there. But I just don't. And Dable back against his former team, right? He knows Josh Allen as well as anybody. That's another, I think, significant element to this. 15.5 is huge. I wouldn't take, obviously, if it was 7, 7.5, 10, maybe even 11.5. 15.5 is just a massive number in the NFL.
It is, massive. But it's a little scary for me.
It is. Just the Giants stink. They are not good.
They stink.
They're really not good. Melanin Fridays brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. From touchdowns to tie bites and puck drops to pizza, BP's elite lineup of apps, wings, and ice-cold beer is always dialed in for game time. Hustle into your local BP tonight. We'll get to our best bets brought to you by FanDuel later in the hour. Dear Hayesy-B coming up. It's a Friday afternoon. We're here to help people. That's how we roll. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050N on TSN 2.
Insight, the ability to see and understand why you do the things you do.
Dear Hayesy-B.
We're going to go down there and have a donkey barbecue, and I'm going to furnish the ass, right?
You don't want to hide a Mars bar in your sleeping bag when there's a bear outside the tent.
Well, before we get to the Dear Hayesy-B, I need to bring something up. And that is that Hayesy-B is a moron, because it came to my attention that Danny Dimes isn't even playing. Mm-hmm. And don't even think about changing anything, because I actually think you have a better chance with Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, really? Tyrod Taylor's, the next Brock Purdy?
I bet you if
Tom
you
Brady.
polled 10 guys, they would say they'd rather have Tyrod Taylor than Danny Dimes.
Well, he does have a history against Buffalo, right? It could be a revenge game against the Bills. I guess that's possible. It maybe can't get worse, but that would explain why the line keeps going up. And Danny Dimes being out, and I was not privy to that information, admittedly. That's on me. But still, it's a massive number. Doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. I think the Giants' defense, maybe they create a turnover or two, maybe a pick six. It's all good. Tyrod Taylor, I love him. With the option to rescind before kickoff. We'll point that out. We'll get that on the record, right? 6:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Anyway, it's time for Dear Hayesy-B, where people write in and we help them. They have issues, they've got problems, and it's that time of year where a lot of problems creep up, like this one. Dear Hayesy-B, one of my best buds is newly single after a 10-year relationship. It's been 2 weeks, and he's got the pin down, scouting for new love already. But he has the worst hair I've ever seen. I a fraidy monkey bum with an odd mole fully exposed. How do I bring up his salad to him? Question mark.
Well, listen, if the guy's back in the game and he's swinging and missing here, it may not take you that long. Because he may figure this out on his own, right? If that's possibly what's going against him. Unless he's got the whole profile pic on one of these apps, the pic from 10 years ago where the salad is absolutely glorious, and then he's connecting, because that happens a lot, is my understanding. The picture that's really, really flattering, and then the meet and greet, and you're like, that's not even – you're not even the same person. Like – and that's men and women, let's be honest. Both sides are pulling that move off. I think it's really tough. I think it's really, really, really tough.
What about a friendly conversation over some beers saying, just go Messier, man?
I guess you could do that once you're deep into the night. And then you got to hope the next day he remembers the conversation. You can't do it over like coffee, stone salt. It's not an intervention.
Okay, what if you have drinks in a crowd and you have a mutual female friend and you say to the female friend, don't you think this guy'd look better if he shaved his head? I think that's reasonable.
That seems possible. Then you need an actor, though. You need someone to – and then that's on the woman to say something. She may feel uncomfortable saying that. It's tough, man.
It's like Billy Guerin said, you got to hit him right between the eyes, Hayesy-B.
With information.
I know, but I'm concerned. The one thing that was jarring in that comment or in the Hayesy-B was the mole. Like, what are we dealing with here? Like, Austin Powers was on the weekend, and they got Fred Savage with the mole there.
Powers. Kenny Pickett on there?
Yeah, it was just, like, honestly, it was. All I'm thinking about is some sort of weird salad with a giant mole. So if you go Messier, all it does is point to the mole. So maybe he's thinking.
Well, it's one of two things, guys. Let's hit him with the truth. It's Messier with the mole, or you're going to Turkey.
Yeah,
figure it out.
Maybe that's what it needs to be.
Yeah, that's true.
Now you're on your own, and you're dealing with you're in a different stage of life, man.
Say you're going to visit family for 6 months and come back with a brand new salad.
That's the move right there. Turkey.
Anyway,
turkey talk.
This guy is freaking out. Dear Hayesy-B, I am hearing Myers this Friday the 13th on repeat. My girlfriend saw my Snapchat and noticed female recents on my feed. Only my female friends use Snapchat, and female bots often add me as well, liar. Nothing to hide here. I am loyal. This morning, after further consideration, she has requested a full phone audit tonight. I do not have any side hustle to hide, but I cannot allow a phone audit as I have no idea what might appear from the graveyards of my phone. How do I proceed?
This is really difficult.
This guy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we'll take you at face value that there's no,
Monkey
funny business going on here. Exactly. Yeah. I'm not on Snapchat. I never have been. I don't really know how it operates. But fine, maybe there's some people that are getting in there that you're not necessarily connected to. But I can understand where you're coming from, because if it's a personal phone, sometimes you just get up, you start looking up some weird stuff. And I'm not even talking sexual in nature. She may just think you're a serial killer based on some of your Google history. You start looking up different things, and then you got to come up with an explanation, and you have no idea why you even were searching that at 3 a.m. 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I think you probably got to put your stake in the ground and just say sorry. If I'm a loyal guy, I'll show you the Snapchat stuff, but you cannot have a full audit of this phone.
Here's why you don't want the full audit.
Not a normal behavior.
Here's why you don't want the full audit. Because you might have some buddies that go on a golf trip and they decide that they want to send language, pics, things that they're up to, and it's just uncomfortable because you might just start hating their guts because of just some stupid guy stuff that they're talking about. Mm-hmm. So that's where the audit could get you in trouble, because you could just get a question from one of your buddies randomly on the couch. Oh, check this out. This might pique your interest. Really? It doesn't pique my interest.
The full audit just can't happen. It's not healthy for a relationship either way. The full audit. If you're doing a full audit, you're going in there with a really bad attitude. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see anything positive coming out of a full audit, because if you're going in, guaranteed she's got preconceived notions, so she's going to find something that'll set her off. I would fight it. I would say it's not worth it.
I think you got to say sorry. Can't happen. Can't happen. The full audit, just not it's not going to happen.
No,
it
not
can't
happening.
happen. You have to push back on the phone audit. Period. End of discussion.
Okay. I understand what you're saying, Hayesy-B, but once you push back on a full phone audit, she's going to hate your guts and be suspicious. I'm just saying.
Well, again, then it comes down to explaining it. And listen, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But it's more so to your point. It's like, listen, it's my buddies you're going to dislike because they sent me a meme that you won't find funny, stuff like that.
Right, exactly.
Where it's like, it's not anything nefarious or anything that I've done personally. It's that you're going to look and say, oh, Gary, that's not funny. I don't like Gary anymore or whatever, and that's not fair either. It's not fair to Gary. Think of Gary. Yeah. Think of Gary during a phone audit. What else do we have?
Dear Hayesy-B, my wife and I are planning a much-needed trip to Hawaii for our 10th anniversary. The only weeks that both she and I can take off together are the first 2 weeks in June. Just as I was about to book flights, I realized that the Stanley Cup finals typically land at that time. My concern is the possibility of the Leafs making a run to the Cup and me not being able to be in the city for it. Even worse is the thought of missing the parade. What should I do? ? Should I buy cancellation insurance as a hedge, or just postpone the entire trip for a totally uncertain future date? Or should I just risk it and go to Hawaii?
Yeah, this one is one that I have been in your shoes before. And I come at it from a different viewpoint because, what I do for a living, it's not possible. If the Leafs are in a Cup final, I'm here. I had a trip planned last year, actually, with a bunch of buddies where I tried to vote it for later in the summer. I lost that vote. It happened. And I told them, I said, I can't give you a guarantee. I can't give you that answer until I know what's going on with the Leafs. And I would suggest that that's probably what you're going to have to do here as well. I know that sucks. I know that's going to cost you a lot, possibly more money. I know there's going to be issues in terms of planning, and maybe you miss out on a couple of things that you wanted to. But if they go out in the first round, you're still talking, a month and a half. Jump on that trip. They go out in the second round, you still got like a month. Once they get to the third round, you're probably in the mojo anyway. You don't want to be in Hawaii if this city's rocking and the Leafs are finally in the third round, let alone the option of a cup final. I think you got to wait it out. I think you put your faith in the hands of the Maple Leafs.
Oh, that is a crazy comment and crazy advice.
I buy cancellation insurance. Like, it's going to cost you a little extra money, but you got them both covered. That if they go out in the first or second round, you're still going. If not, you cancel the trip and you get your money back. Like, to me, I think you hedge your bet.
And here's the problem. Once you've made the plans, then the deeper planning happens. We're doing this on Tuesday, Wednesday. I just bought this. Once it's booked and mentally you're going, it doesn't matter what happens. You're going.
It's mentally she's going.
Well, and guess what you're doing? Guess what you're doing? You're going too. You're going.
Well, cancellation insurance gives you the money back, and you just push it a week or two, and you can plan around it. Like the flex, it gives you the flexibility, and that's what you want. Mm-hmm. You need flexibility in this situation because you just laid out a bunch of different scenarios of how it could look. So yes, you could have this great trip to Hawaii planned out, but you could also have this great run into a playoff Stanley Cup final.
What about this? You booked the trip.
Hedge your bet.
Okay.
You booked the trip. And if the Leafs are in the Stanley Cup Finals, you go to the airport with all intentions, and once you pull up like Lloyd Christmas, her girlfriend's right there, and you say, guess what? You're going to Hawaii with your girlfriend. And you do the switcheroo, and you peel back to your house, and you watch the Leafs.
Well,
magical.
That's a lot of money, though.
Yeah, and I don't know how that works in terms of the
Change
system
the name on the ticket. Have an alternate name on the ticket.
It is, I think, every Leaf fan's worst nightmare. I'm sure the Cub fans went through that up to 2016. Red Sox fans up to 2004. It's like if you've been investing for decades, the idea that they're finally going to do it and you're going to miss it somehow. Like something else is going to. It's a worst case scenario. Having that kind of hang over you, like I would guess, for instance, if you're a Vegas Golden Knight fan, you're like, I saw it. I'd like to be there again if they double down. That'd be awesome. But if I miss it, I've seen the show. If you're a Tampa Bay Lightning fan, you've seen the show. You don't even know what the show is if you're a Maple Leaf fan. You don't know what it is. You don't know what it looks like. Don't know what it feels like. Do not want to miss it. Can't miss it. All right, we got one more?
One more. Dear Hayesy-B, my boss is a family friend, and I'm also best friends with his son. My buddies and I are having a little fall golf weekend planned starting next Friday, which I've been waiting for all year, and I was planning to be, in quote, sick on Friday as I'm all out on vacation days. Mm-hmm. I received an email today scheduling an important client meeting on that same Friday. I've also found out that my boss's son, by total chance, my boss is playing the same course that weekend. Need advice on how to approach this.
This is a worst case scenario, man. This is office life that is just different from what we operate with, right? Like we have a different work schedule, lifestyle here. You know where we are. We can't hide. 4 to 7, Monday to Friday. There's no there isn't a mannequin up here or a dummy. Like, it's us. This is the worst case scenario if you're trying to get around this. I guess the only thing I could suggest is do whatever you can to connect with the client and try to get that client to move the meeting. That's the way out. Move the meeting. Maybe this is sneaky, but if you can pull it off, it's a beaut. Get the meeting moved to like a Thursday afternoon. Tell the boss it's actually Friday morning off site. Then when you see him Friday afternoon, you say, I got the job done earlier this morning and I screwed it up, and it's all good. Then it's like, oh, you got the job done? You got your work done? You met with that client? Awesome stuff. How you teeing it? And then it's all good, right? So that's your play. Move it to the day before.
I think about this.
Pretend it's the next day.
I think about this, and you've heard Luke Willson and Noodles and I discuss always having $1,000 in your pocket for situations. You talk to the client. You meet at a coffee shop. You take care of the meeting off-site. Mm-hmm. And then you show up at the golf course and you bring the back shop kid into the pro shop and you give him $500 and you circle the boss's dad's name and you say, call that guy and tell him the course is closed tomorrow.
That's a play. You're right. That's the play. Here's 500. Call him and say he's no longer coming out because something's come up.
Say behavior in his past has been reported and he's no longer welcome at the course.
That's right.
And say, don't even think about wheeling in the parking lot because we'll have the police here, so don't even think. Or just not that, but say, you know what? It's been raining. It's wet. No one's playing golf here today.
Yep. That's the play.
Yeah, you got to come up with that excuse. I agree. And it's going to cost you some cash. It's a handshake with 500 to 1,000 in it. That's what it
Get the
looks
job
like.
done. Whatever it takes. Get the job done.
But he might not do it. The kid might say, I'm not doing that.
Right. That's why you got to make it well worth his while. Right.
Yeah.
Well,
and if that's the case, you just tee it and let it fly and take the chance of seeing him out
Whatever
there.
happens. If he's a family friend, you're friends with the kid, he's probably going to let you off the hook anyway. You can't miss that. It's a big weekend. It's fall golf, man. We're like 3 weeks away from being done, finished, and you got to wait.
I got one round left.
6 months.
Next Wednesday, then I'm done. It's over.
I know, it sucks. All right, there you go. Dear Hayesy-B. Right, we're here to help people, and I think that's exactly what we just accomplished. So you're welcome. Yep. Everyone's welcome out there. We'll come back with our best bets brought to you by FanDuel. Tee up a busy weekend. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, today's best bets are powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Looking at the NFL weekend, Bengals money line. Bengals money line. We got a little parlay here. Bengals money line, although I like them laying 2.5 too. Cooper Kupp anytime touchdown. A.J. Brown over 68.5 total yards receiving. Now, they're up against the Jets. Not going to be easy, but A.J. Brown is a stud, and I think he goes off again this weekend. Today's best bets are powered by FanDuel. Make your same-game parlays this NFL season because they now include passing touchdowns and receptions on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly. 19+ and physically located in Ontario. So it's been a fun week. It's been a fun, really, September into October. And it's been a wild few years, really, on this show because of the nature of what's happened in the world, right? But, the three of us have been on the air. Our boy JP's now been on the board for a while. And one of the mainstays of this show for a number of years is our main man, the Grappler, Keith Bauer. Let's bring him in here. And the reason we're bringing the Grappler in is because he's all grown up. And he's moving up the corporate ladder here at Bell Media. He is staying within the company, within TSN Radio. But Grappler, you've been producing the show for a long time. You've done a phenomenal job. So good that I guess the higher-ups said we got to move this guy up the chain a little bit. So congratulations. I don't know why they have you listed as Luke, but that's not a bad handle.
It could be a lot worse. There's a lot of worse names than Luke Willson. I think I can live with that.
Are you like officially our boss now? You're not our boss.
That's what's concerning.
Honestly, I've had a few other, I guess let's just say hosts on this station ask me that. I don't really know at this point, but I suppose it's possible. That's
yeah,
gonna be
it could
weird.
be. Wouldn't that be wild?
If you ever try to send some type of boss-type email saying, don't do this or that, I will flush you for life.
I think I kind of have to, though. I mean, if I am going to be some sort of boss, I need to start somewhere.
That's right. You have to. Wouldn't it be a wild turn of events if day one on Grappler's to-do list is just completely get rid of this show?
No, just Jerry's percentage is gone. So you can't have that.
It stinks.
Sorry, I don't like it. I've never liked it.
What should be interesting to watch, Hayes, I think you were off the very first show I ever produced here. It was Taddy, O, and Noodles. I kicked the lights out in the studio my very first show here.
I remember that. I remember hearing about that.
So, I mean, I would like to think day one next week will go a little bit more smoothly, but only time will tell.
Well, we'll miss you, buddy. It's been awesome.
I'll miss you guys too.
It was. You know what? Honestly, my wife sent me a text earlier today that I think it's been 6 years since I blew my knee out. And I blew my knee out a week after that game up in Barrie. The Barrie Colts game.
When I was born.
And that's when the Grappler came to life. That was
true.
basically your first time working with us.
Yeah.
You were up in Barrie with us, and effectively the rest was history.
You got
at that
your
point.
nickname.
You got your nickname, and that's been 6 years. And now you're moving up, and it obviously couldn't happen to a better guy. And we're going to miss you for sure, but other guys will step in, and you're still here. You're not going anywhere. You're still working at TSN and TSN Radio, so you'll be a huge part of the show, I'm sure, still going forward.
Yeah,
perhaps dealing with us is a handful. I know that you know that. We all are aware of that. But thank you very much.
Thanks, buddy.
Producing the show, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of phone calls. It's a lot of texting. It's a lot of canceling and then responding to that after. So From all three of us, we all really appreciate all
Absolutely.
No, I appreciate it a lot, guys. It's no, like you said, it's been a hell of a ride. It's I'm looking forward to the change, but this show has been my routine for the last 4.5 years, dealing with you guys every day, part of the routine for 4.5 years. It's going to be very, very weird going through a weekend, watching football on Sunday, and Hayes, I'm not going to be messaging you on Sunday, okay, this is what
I
we
might
got
message you though, Grappler.
Yeah,
you never know.
I might it's going to happen. So I'm looking forward to the change. Appreciate all the kind words, and it's been fun. So
all right, pal.
Yeah. Keep on doing your thing. Keep grinding.
We will, and we'll be seeing you. You know that. Millen on Fridays.
Give it at least 3 weeks before you message us.
Yeah, we'll hear.
See what I can do.
We'll hear from you soon.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. From touchdowns to tie bites and puck drops to pizza. BP's elite lineup of apps, wings, and ice cold beer. Always dialed in for game time. Hustle into your local BP tonight. Make sure you do that, Grappler. Shout out to the Grappler. Everyone else behind us here. We appreciate all the help as always. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, podcast, web. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy your weekends. We're back Monday at
Grappler,
4 p.m.
Wilt shot Dan.